I'm Chris Turner, and this is the Empowered Parent Podcast. Greetings, and welcome to another episode of the Empowered Parent Podcast. Joining me, as always, are Ryan and Kayla North. Hi, guys.
Hey, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
Well, given the time of year we're in, and we've done an episode before about navigating the holidays, but I thought we could offer something a little more practical to our listeners as to maybe how to handle things on the day of. You know, Christmas is celebrated by, I would gather, majority of our listeners, but this equally applies to other holidays around this time of year where you're getting together with family or friends or just a large group of people. And some of our kiddos can't really handle those situations too well.
Can we say sensory overload?
Yes, very much so.
Can we also agree that it's not just our kids who can't handle the situation as well?
Yes,
Seriously.
very much so. So I
Too
thought,
many people, too many new things, too much food.
oh yeah,
Every time I hear it's the most wonderful time of the year on the radio, I'm like,
For who?
Or is it?
for who?
Yeah, because for you're singing your song at some Manhattan recording studio.
For retailers, perhaps.
That's
Yeah.
right.
For retailers, yes.
It's the most complicated time of the year. Can I get a witness on
Yes.
that?
Oh,
Amen.
yeah, amen.
So we were talking kind of beforehand. I think there are four main areas we can focus on to give our parents some advice on how they can practice with their kids outside the moment to prepare for these situations. So the first one is new foods, because a lot of times you're going to see foods at Christmas lunch or dinner that you might not see the rest of the year.
Sweet potato pie.
Yes.
Well, and you have family
Don't make
members.
that face. Sweet potato pie is delicious. Hot
Nah.
sweet potatoes is bleh.
No, mushy sweet potatoes is not so good.
Vegetables should not be dessert.
Nah, seriously, no,
It's
like
a carb. It's not a vegetable.
that's true. It is
Oh,
totally
that's
just
true.
starch. That's all it is. No,
I'm still out.
I think I think the hardest part, because at home we kind of know what our kids like and don't like, and so we try not to battle over foods, right? So we have options. You can try this one or this one. But when you go with family, you've got grandma who's like, here, I'll dish up for Johnny. And she dishes a big old helping of sweet potato pie because she only sees Johnny twice a year and has no idea that he hates warm, mushy things. And so
Testify.
how does Johnny react to that? He throws the plate across the room, or he dumps it on the floor, or he screams, "That's disgusting. Don't put it on my plate." Right? So if we can teach our kids, hey, when grandma's dishing up for you, if she puts some sweet potatoes on your plate, just say thank you. Right? And we can practice. We can go through the whole scenario. Let's pretend that I am grandma and I'm putting some sweet potatoes on your plate. What do you say? Thanks, grandma. And then you don't have to eat them because mommy's not going to fight with you about eating sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
We can pick a different vegetable that you like, right? I mean, I
That's
think
really
it's
I'm sorry.
simple enough, right?
Yeah, I think we've made sweet potato pie the villain here. But let's be honest, Thanksgiving and Christmas is quite the collection of warm, mushy foods.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
like in our household, my kids will eat green beans. They love green beans.
Yeah, but not green bean casserole.
But green bean casserole with the cream of mushroom in it and
don't like it.
the dried onion things on top,
They just want plain.
they won't touch it.
My
Like
kids want canned green beans.
I love
Cold
green
and
bean
mushy.
casserole.
See, I love green bean casserole
That's
too.
like one of the few traditional holiday meal items that I'm all in on.
yeah.
And so I was kind of disappointed that we didn't make it for Thanksgiving. But I'm thinking I'm going to get it for Christmas this year.
Yeah.
And we'll just have to do a little thing for green beans for the children.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's simple enough to make some accommodations for our kids, but I think the hard part is just teaching them how to
Respond.
right? I mean, that's just being able to respond to adults in a way that is respectful. We were talking with some parents the other day, and they were just talking about how, their daughter is really good at using scissors. And they had a party at their house, and she was trying to get the scissors, and an adult told her, no, you can't have those. And she kind of freaked out about it because her mom lets her use the scissors. And they were at their house too.
Oh.
And so the party was just happened to be at their house, and there was another adult that saw her trying to get scissors and said, "Oh no, honey, and she's only 4, so I mean that's a reasonable thing to think that the 4-year-old shouldn't have the scissors."
Yeah.
But she said she said I never thought about it. So she said after the fact, they went and said, "What should we do if a grown-up says don't do something that mommy would let you do?" And they did a whole role play. She said, she was like, "Okay, mommy, you be me and I'll be the grown up." And she said her daughter initiated it because they've been doing enough of those things that her daughter knew, okay, let's practice this. And they just practice. How do you react when a grown up says you can't do something?
Yeah.
And she said, and then you can say, okay, and then you can come get mommy and say, "Mommy, I want to use some scissors. Can you get them for me?" Right? Very simple and can be avoided if we just give our kids the tools in advance so that in that moment, they're like, wait, I remember this. We did this.
Yeah. I want to get back to the warm mushy food for a minute before we move on.
Sweet potato pie?
Well, because a lot of the warm mushy food outside of mashed potatoes is usually special to grandma because it's the family stuffing recipe, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
or just that's the way we've always done it.
Right. Everybody must have
Right.
XYZ.
I was more concerned about because it's not just such a bucking tradition. It's personal when you won't.
Yeah.
Eat,
because she spent all that time making it.
I mean, the
Yes.
cornbread stuffing is just warm and mushy and
Doesn't taste that great.
Yeah. It tastes like cornmeal. Dallas is giving me stink eye.
I'd rather just a little slightly sweet cornbread with some butter.
Oh yeah,
That
that would be
way better.
delicious.
Some jalapeno
So
cornbread.
much better.
Well, there you go.
Some butter. Well, how about some
Yes.
bacon jalapeno?
Oh, you're
that
making
Now
me
we're
hungry.
on to something.
Yeah, now we're
Bacon
on
jalapeno cornbread. I'm
Coming
in.
to a store near you in 2019, Empowered Parent Podcast cornbread.
Please let us know if you serve this at your holiday dinner and book us for next year.
That's right.
Also, if you want to send us goodies,
Oh yes, samples. We'll sample your holiday foods.
we will. If you message us on Facebook, we'll send you an address, and we'll be happy to eat your family tradition goodies.
Or feel free to email us at info@onebighappyhome.com.
Yes, that's right. And now all of a sudden, I'm envisioning like 20 people sending us cornbread stuffing.
Which will probably go into the trash, just to warn you people ahead of time.
Oh, how
No,
rude!
we'll give that to somebody
you
who
will
likes cornbread
gracefully say
stuffing.
thank you if someone offers
See?
you food.
Practicing outside the moment.
right.
Wow.
Let's practice,
Chris
Chris.
needs work.
I'll be the listener that sends you cornbread stuffing.
Yeah, so there's sweet potato pie, there's mashed potatoes, there's cornbread stuffing, there's
Cranberry
pumpkin pie,
sauce.
there's
Oh, the
cranberry
cranberry
sauce.
sauce. Ugh.
Oh my gosh! And if it's homemade cranberry sauce, and you have to, then we get to New Year's and you got to eat black-eyed
Black-eyed
peas. I'm
peas.
sorry, Southern
Oh.
people, I don't get it.
It's definitely a Southern thing.
Yeah, and my mother makes like black-eyed pea salad, and it's like cold with like bell peppers.
So gross.
See, I think this is definitely a regional
You know,
thing.
my
'cause
mother recently started listening to the podcast.
Did
Kayla.
she?
I think a lot of Northerners
I
look
mean,
at black-eyed
black-eyed
peas
peas in general.
the way Southerners look at navy beans, which is like a big thing up north.
Oh, interesting.
Like a New Year's Day,
Like a good
thing?
luck kind
Or not
of thing?
like
or?
just as a taste thing.
Because you
Oh,
make baked
interesting.
beans out of navy beans, right?
Interesting.
Don't you?
But I think
I'm sorry, Yankee bean. That's what I'm thinking of. Yankee bean.
I don't know what a Yankee bean is.
I don't know either. I just remember from Seinfeld. Yankee bean. Yankee
okay, so let's talk through. Okay,
Let's fight through. You
let's fight through the crazy. Let's talk through what it would look like to do a practice outside the moment about food.
Okay.
So, hey, babe, do you want to be the kid or the parent?
I'll be the kid. I'm feeling particularly
You're feeling-
belligerent right now.
Okay, so I'll be
I don't want any.
grandma that's going to
No, don't
serve
like it.
you. It's going to serve you some food,
I hate this.
and Chris can be your dad.
Oh God.
So when we do it the right
I want to
way,
be grandma
Lord.
now.
Can I be grandma now?
so we'll do it the wrong way first, because the wrong way is always much more fun.
And you
so-
also want to leave the child with the memory of doing it the correct way.
That's right.
I
So
remember.
okay, so wrong way. We're dishing up food on a plate
Okay. Am I
for
sitting at the kiddie
Christmas.
table?
You're sitting at the kiddie table, and grandma.
Before you move on, I do not want to discount this whole kiddie table thing because I think the kids feel pushed away. Right?
Yeah.
Like, no. I know you sit at the table with us all the rest of the time, but now that we're celebrating the birth of our Lord in the garage.
What's funny about the kiddie table is that maybe it's like a full circle kind of a deal because at my grandmother's house, there really wasn't enough room at their dining room table, even when it was fully extended for everyone to sit around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you had to have the overflow table or kiddie table, or what have you.
Yeah.
And like when we were all smaller, they would set up like a card table, right next to the big table.
Right.
So we weren't like dismissed
You were
to
close.
another room.
You weren't in
right?
another room. Yeah.
Yeah. But like as we all got older and
You
bigger,
got to be teenagers.
and-
They were like, go
right.
outside.
Well, we went to the regular kitchen table instead of
Yeah.
the big dining room table, right? And maybe there were some feelings of resentment of not being with the adults and thing. But then like as I got older and into a young adult, I was like, yeah, I'll happily sit at the kid table.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so Ryan, you're sitting at the kiddie table. We're going back to our.
We just got brought back
You
on
did
point.
get yes. We're going back because we're going to run out of time. We got lots to talk about. Okay, so here you go. Here you go, Johnny. Here's your food. I got you some of my favorite cornbread stuffing.
Who's Johnny?
You are.
You're
Sorry,
little
you're Johnny.
Johnny.
Sorry.
I got you some of my homemade cornbread stuffing.
I hate it.
It's
disgusting.
I
It
spent
is so
all day
gross.
in the kitchen
I don't want to.
making
I hate
this
you.
cornbread
Cornbread
stuffing.
sucks.
Johnny, eat this
Johnny,
cornbread.
don't
No.
talk to your grandmother that way.
No. Oh, I'm not.
What have you? How have you raised this kid? He will not eat cornbread stuffing. This is part of our
Grandma,
family
I'll have
tradition.
some. Just be quiet. I'll have some. Look, it's so gross. I'm gonna barf.
Seriously,
It's disgusting.
Disrespectful kids. I can't even believe you bring
hate
this kid
cornbread.
around.
I hate corn.
All right. See, that was a great job doing it the wrong way.
Or you mean accurately recreating how dinner goes sometimes.
I really appreciate Dad jumping in and just digging in on Johnny eats your cornbread. That was good. That was nice. All right. we
Clearly
did the-
not trauma informed.
You said we were doing this the
All right.
wrong
Oh, that's
way.
Exactly
So
right. You did a great
Good
job
job.
doing
High
it the
five.
wrong way. That's what I was saying. Okay, so then the right way. Hey, Johnny, I brought you some of my homemade cornbread stuffing.
Oh, thank you, Grandma.
You're welcome. I hope you like it. I spent all day making it.
I hope I like it too.
very good using your manners, Johnny.
Thank you, Daddy.
Oh, see,
Well,
y'all
you
are
eat my
so
cornbread.
good.
It sucks.
Just slide it at the table, then I'll take care of it for you.
Grandma's got dogs, dude. Just
All right, nice job doing it the
Thank
right
you.
way. Yeah, so
Thank
I mean,
you
I
very
think we can make it silly and goofy for our kids. They think it's a lot more fun.
It was silly goofy with the three adults
I
sitting
know
around the
exactly.
table.
So imagine how much fun it would be with your kids, right? And that way they know, okay, yes, Grandma's going to try and give me something gross that I don't want to eat, but I'm going to be polite because it was offered to me. And then I'm going to go to my parent, who actually is the one responsible for me, and they're going to be the one that helps me figure out the problem I have. So,
okay. So I know a question that people are going to have listening to what you just said.
okay.
What do you feel about incentivizing the children to behave well?
Oh, incentivizing, like bribing them? Like if you do X, Y, Z.
Man, bribing's illegal, but lobbying is perfectly lawful.
So yes, exactly. So like saying, if you do this, you'll get to play on your Xbox.
Or like a bonus. Yeah. I mean, what do you? Because again, this is potentially super problematic, right? Because you don't want the kids to feel like they always have to do what adults want. Right. I mean, that has the real dangerous implications,
Right.
in terms of sexually predatory behavior from an adult, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But so you have to find the middle ground. Because I'm not saying, hey, Kayla, we should incentivize the kids. What I'm saying though is I know how we used to think, and I think that you could maybe incentivize the kids with a small reward. Don't go nuts. If you eat 2 bites of that, you can have all the M&Ms you want. That doesn't help anybody. But the flip side of that is that what I think we're trying to teach the kids is that other people's feelings are important,
Right.
Yeah.
and to be rude to grandma is not okay.
Right.
I think that's That's more of the lesson that we want to teach the kiddos, that we need to be considerate of other people's feelings, and it's not okay to be rude, as opposed to you better eat it or grandma's going to complain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
right.
I think that's an important distinction to do that. And if you have to get the train moving in the right direction, a small reward I don't think is a bad idea, but I certainly wouldn't do it all of the time.
And here's something that just occurred to me as you were saying that, Ryan. You know, if you're in a situation where, you know, you're going to the grandparents, or maybe the grandparents are coming to you, and there's food preparation happening ahead of time, and your children are able to participate, sometimes it's, if you can get them involved in the preparation of the food, it makes that food a little less weird to them or scary to them.
And that's some pride of ownership, and so they're willing to try it. No, that's really great advice. Our kids love participating in the cooking process.
Because, you know,
because they'll at least take a bite of it if they've made it,
right?
Usually.
Because my parents now come to us.
Yeah.
For the big holidays most of the time. And so there's always at least chocolate pies and sweet potato pies being prepared ahead of time by my mom, because she knows those are my two favorite desserts for the holidays. And one of our boys really likes helping grandma with the food prep. And then he's, of course, very proud to let everyone know
to show you
that
what he's
I
made.
helped grandma make this pie. And isn't it yummy? And oh, yes, it is yummy. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So that might be another way that can you help your kids with the new food issue?
It's a great idea. What else do we want to practice outside of the moment?
Well,
Christmas season, gang.
Well, usually when you visit relatives, there's lots of touching, coming and going. There's lots of hugs. There's lots of kisses, and some of our kids just cannot handle those things because of their past.
Yeah. So we've got the some of the kids who just lead with their cheek. They do the side hug thing. Got some folks who like give you cheek at the last minute. Can I just have to tell a kissing story quickly about what a good sport my wife is? So
I know what he's going to tell.
So we both come from hugs and kisses families. I don't know if you're a hugs and kisses family too.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So we come from hugs and kisses family. Now my her family on her mom's side are mostly mouth kissers, like the close family, right? And where I'm from, everybody's a mouth kisser. Okay, that's just like culturally how you greet friends, family. It's how you culturally greet people. So
I'm not kissing you on the mouth, Ryan.
Well, yeah, it's complicated because it would be men and women would kiss on the mouth, and women would kiss on the mouth, but men and men would not.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. So, but anyhow, and nobody even thinks anything about it, as illustrated by this story.
It's just normal part of.
So 2 years into our marriage, about 2.5 years into our marriage, Kayla and I go out to South Africa, and we spent a few days up in the Johannesburg area and then fly down to my hometown. And we visited with my aunt and uncle one night. And we're sitting in the living room, and so you walked into their home, and there was like an entryway to their home, and then you like turned to the left and went into the living room, and then went straight into the rest of the house, right? And so my aunt by marriage, that's maybe an important detail. My aunt by marriage is there, and she goes into the kitchen. Her mom had called to come pick something up, so she went into the kitchen to get it. Her mom walks in the front door, sees us sitting there, turns left. Kayla and I stand up to greet this woman. She kisses me on the mouth, kisses Kayla on the mouth, and walks into the kitchen. And Kayla says to me, "Who was that?" I said, "I don't know. I think it was Annette's mother." Turns out it was, but here's the irony of that. So here's what's funny about that story. I hadn't seen that woman in maybe 15 years, and I'd probably only seen her 3 times in my life before that day.
Wow.
She'd never met Kayla. Just like,
right, she didn't even know who I was.
And my brother's wife would always just last minute turn her to give you the cheek, but Kayla was a good sport. She just kissed everybody on the mouth. Just at least we don't have to deal with that for the most part.
For the most part, we don't. But I think if we know our kids well, then we know which of our kids are going to be really bothered by a random relative that they haven't seen or that they see once a year coming and giving them a hug or a kiss. So if we have kids that are really bothered by that, then we need to teach them what to do so that they don't like punch grandma in the nose or, duck out of the hug and like crawl under their legs and freak anybody out. Yeah. I mean, our kids are going to get away from it somehow. Right. But it's probably not going to be in the most appropriate way. So if we give them a little advance, okay, we're going to be around Aunt Susie, and Aunt Susie loves to give hugs. So when she comes to hug you, just give her a big high five or give them something else to do and then practice it and say, okay, I'm Aunt Susie. And you do the practice outside the moment and make it playful and fun. And then you remind them right before you go into the house, go, okay, remember Aunt Susie. She's the one that wears the bright red lipstick. She'll be wearing like a big flowery dress or what, you know what I mean? Like you give them
Just
some
go to her
kind of
Instagram account.
yeah, there you go.
She looks like this. Here's the other thing I think we need to be very, very clear about. We need to not just prepare our kids. We need to prepare Aunt Susie.
Yes, absolutely.
Or more to the point, we need to tell our mom to tell her sister Aunt Susie what's what. And we also need to let grandma know that the kids don't. Well, and this is less hard for us because we're around my folks and Kayla's folks every week, so they know what our kids. I'm like, we'll go over to my parents' house or my in-laws' house, and not only are they accounting for the dairy, egg, and gluten-free dietary restrictions, but we don't have like my mom when she makes meatloaf. A traditional way to do that in South Africa is instead of put the tomato sauce on like you would here, you would actually put mashed potatoes and then cheese and then melt that under the broiler.
I like that a lot better.
Yeah, so, and I like that too, but because half of my children don't eat mashed potatoes, a couple of Sundays we were over at grandma's house and she made meatloaf sans mashed potatoes, right? Which is interesting how our parents turn their backs on us and just cater to our kids. It's fine, it's good, it's what I want. I'm like, where's the mashed potatoes? Well, Josh doesn't like them. I'm like, imagine.
But I do.
But I do. Right?
Imagine how easy it might be for him to scrape them off. So we have that advantage of being around them constantly, and they understand what our kids can handle and can't handle.
Well, and they're not strangers to our kids because
Yeah,
they only
it's when
see
you
them
go
once
and
a
see
year.
for more to the point where we see great grandma, who we might see 3 times a year,
Yeah.
who they love, but still, she's a Depression era child, and really this accommodating children's dietary things is foreign to her. So prepping great grandma a little bit in advance too, and she may bristle or whatever, but our responsibility is our children, right? And so if me or Kayla or you or Kelly or anybody else put somebody else's feelings over our the relationship with the children, that's a mistake, and we need to revisit that. So a lot of what we're talking about here tonight is how to prep the kids for these moments, but the overarching thing that we can't forget is we have a responsibility to do the much lead work for on our kids' behalf. And, everybody listening is like, yeah, easy, dude, because, somebody's going to bristle and somebody's going to get their feelings hurt. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's not Christmas unless people get their feelings hurt. Let's just be honest with each other. So,
Well, and I think like we don't want to just tell our kids, "Hey, Aunt Susie's going to give you a big hug. Just be okay with it."
Yeah.
We don't want to do that.
Yeah.
We don't want to discount that they have sensory needs and they don't like that big hug or that. I mean, this is a stranger to them virtually, somebody they see once or twice a year. They don't really have a relationship with that person, and we shouldn't force them to hug or kiss those people.
Right.
But oftentimes that's what family members do, especially I think older generations of people. I think younger generations are becoming a little more aware, especially in the culture of more knowledge of sexual abuse and grooming and things like that. I think,
or also, less intimate relationship with people.
well, that's true too.
Right, because we all have these great relationships with our telephones and not many great relationships with people.
Right. But I think we're becoming a little more aware of that. But some people still are of the mindset that we're family, we hug and kiss. Doesn't matter that I've never met you before.
Grandma kissed me on the mouth the day I met her.
Yeah, I mean,
Walked out, hi, I'm Nano. Mwah. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey.
All right.
it's like if
Nice
you're
to meet ya.
family, you're family,
We were
right?
just dating at the time when I met her.
Yeah. But
You
she'd
must
already
have done
accepted you
a
in
great
the family.
job of the advanced
That's right.
pub for the boyfriend.
Well, we don't want to just make our kids feel like they have to do what a grown-up says.
Yeah.
But we also want them to be respectful of their elders, and we want them to be respectful of family members, and we want them to know how to interact. And they're not going to do it perfectly.
Well, particularly on
They're
this
kids,
issue.
and they have had trauma, and they have, so they're not going to get it perfect. But the more we can practice with them and remind them just before we get there, okay, remember, if you don't want to hug, what are we going to do? We're going to try a high five or a fist bump
Yep.
or, we're going to give them something alternate to do, or we're going to have them walk in with a picture and handing grandma a picture. So grandma immediately takes the picture from them instead of trying to hug them. And then they can
That's a really good one.
Quietly.
Well, that's a really good one because you're giving your children strategies to succeed as opposed to just hold my hand.
Right.
Because as tempting as that is, you can't hold their hand in every situation.
Right.
This one's really important, particularly with kids who've had some sort of sexual maltreatment or sexual abuse, because while a kiss on the cheek is innocent, and, let's also be, I know we keep saying grandma, but let's also be honest that grandma has good intentions here, right? She wants little Johnny to feel like he's part of the family, and we'll say, that's actually not a great example. What if it's grandpa? Because most sexual abusers are male statistically. So grandpa's like, the kids have given us a talking to, and we didn't do well last year, and so we know we got to try better and make their foster kiddos or their adopted kiddos, just treat them no differently than the bio kiddos, and so we want to please our children, and so we're going to really, really make a conscious effort to sort of normalize Christmas and make the foster kiddos or the adopted kiddos feel like they're actually, because while we feel like our kids are all part of the family no matter how they got there, the next layer of family doesn't always adopt that as quickly, right? So grandpa's like, oh, give me a kiss on the cheek, and little Susie goes, I don't want to, and grandpa goes, oh, honey, that's what we do in this family, and you're part of this family, now give grandpa a kiss. And Susie's like, I don't want to, and we go, invariably, Susie, give your grandfather a kiss. And Susie gives grandfather a kiss, and we think, oh my gosh, it's so awesome that my dad has really embraced the kids and wants them to be a part of the family and wants them to feel like part of the family. And Susie goes, okay, I guess if a man wants something physical from me, I'm not allowed to say no. And we don't think about that.
Yeah.
And it's probably really good that our minds don't go there first. It's probably easier that way, but the truth of the matter is we have to consider all of these things from all of the angles, because what is the message that we're sending our children in these interactions is super important. And so I want Susie to know that her thoughts and feelings matter. So if she doesn't want to give grandpa a kiss on the cheek, then, grandpa's going to have to be okay with that. Yeah. Which is going to be hard for grandpa, because now he feels like he can't win, because it's a catch-22 no matter which way he plays it. Yeah. He can't win with you. And the truth of the matter is that if grandpa would play it down the middle, we'd be okay. But they're reactionary, right, like most people.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a really good place for us to end this episode on. We do still have a couple of topics in this area, so tune in to our second part of practicing outside the moment for the holidays. So Ryan, Kayla, thanks once again for being on the podcast.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Christopher.
If you've got a question for us, feel free to email it to us at info@onebighappyhome.com. If you can squeeze it in 280 characters, feel free to tweet it to us at onebighappyhome. We have a Facebook group just for podcast listeners. And as a matter of fact, today as we record this is the 1-year anniversary since we opened the group, which now has over 1,200 members. So search for the Empowered Parent Podcast community on Facebook and ask to join. You can subscribe to our podcast in iTunes, the Google Play Store, and Spotify. Just search for the Empowered Parent Podcast. If you've enjoyed and gotten value from our show, we'd appreciate a review in any of these locations. The Empowered Parent Podcast is committed to helping parents of foster and adopted kids through connecting, correcting, and empowering principles. Thanks for listening.